Okay, so things, life, as I said, life is dynamic. You learn about things, you learn about the professions. As you live your life from 15 to 35, 40, you're gonna develop new skills and have a different appreciation for life. So you're gonna decide, the other three projects, or the second project is not that interesting to me anymore. I'm gonna pick the one that was fourth, I'm gonna bring it down to two, and that's gonna be the next project. Let's say at age 35, when you're getting ready for the second profession, say, okay, I'm gonna choose this one. Or you've learned about new professions exist actually, maybe by that time. So everything is dynamic. There's nothing set in stone. Some things, in terms of the profession you're gonna choose, is not set in stone. What is set in stone probably is the way you are, your nature as a human being, and the fact you have these four aspects of love, health, work, and happiness. I don't see that changing at least for the next 100 years. Uh, I don't see how that could change, ever. But life is crazy. So I think for the next 100 years, probably the world is gonna look much like it does today, with whole bunch of electronic gadgets, electricity, roads. Things are gonna improve. You're gonna have self-driving cars, for example. It's already changing. It's gonna be different. Professions are gonna be eliminated. Apparently, 90% of professions are gonna be eliminated because they're manual, sort of, or they're going to be replaced by automation. For example, the trucking industry is going to be wiped out completely. That's 3 million truck drivers which are going to be out of a job within the next 5 to 10 years because of the self-driving trucks. And this whole industry of motels, of pit stops on the highway is going to disappear. Um, so now that's about work. No, I could talk a lot about work. I've talked about the most important thing is to realize work is part of happiness. And for 80% of us in the modern world, in modern society, it is not, and that's a problem. That's a mindset that you have to change. And the problem is money. I'm going to talk about money in a bit, but people are uh, money is a limiting factor in terms of them moving to a profession that they like, studying for a profession that they would like, and working in that profession for many, many years. Instead, they have to work in retail and some restaurant as a waiter or waitress. It's not developing your brain. It's not using the human being or your abilities as a human being to its maximum potential. And unfortunately, that's what money does to people. Like, some people are really lucky; they have enough money to do whatever they please. And those are the people who usually don't want to retire. And some people, unfortunately, are bound by the thing called money, this invention of the modern world called money. We shouldn't need money, but it's there, and for now we have to live with it. And probably for the next 100 years, it's gonna be there, and you're gonna have to deal with it. And if you can get out of it, you can get out of that cycle, that vicious cycle that includes money. That will go a long way towards um, improving your happiness, your mood, your everyday mood, and your overall outlook of life, and your um, your level of optimism for the future. So going back to work, so yeah, once you learn those professions, those 100 professions, and you know what you like, you make a list and you decide, okay, for the next 20 years, I'm gonna do this. Or maybe after 10 years, you decide, okay, this is not what I like. I'm gonna try something else. But after 10 years, you've gathered a lot of information. You've put your foot in the door of the professions, and you're gonna do things differently for the next one. And then maybe you can change after 10 years. Maybe you can even change after 5. But um, in order, the in order to really learn a skill, you need many, many years. You need 10, 15, 20 years. And that's why you have to plan where you're going to go. If you know where you're going to go, you know what steps to take to get there. Um, and as I said, it's pretty dynamic. For me, I think that's a good plan. When you're 10 or so, you choose the work you're going to do from the ages of 15 to 35 or so. And then as you move along in life, you update your plan. You say, I know I'm going to do something else, and this is, I want to be a physician. I want to be a doctor from the ages of 40 to 60 or 40 to 50, let's say. And then you can decide, I'm going to be, let's say I'm going to be a magician. You can be a magician for 10 years. Yeah, I mean, uh, there's a lot of things you can do, but um, you have to do something that's fulfilling. Um, and when you do, okay, let's talk about retirement. That's It was invented about in the 1860s or 1870s or 1880s in Germany, I believe. And I think at that point, the retirement age was set at age 65, meaning the government would pay you an allowance once you turn 65. What was the age life expectancy at that time? It was I think 60 years old, meaning you were never expected to collect that money. Yeah. All right. So and that moved to the U.S. This concept moved to the U.S. in the 1890s, I believe, and it was set at age 65, but people were not expected to live that long. At some point, people started to go live beyond age 65, and the government had to start paying these pensions. And now people live 20 years, 30 years beyond retirement, and so they get this pension, and that's why this is a huge load on the working population. But there's another problem is these people are no longer seen as useful. So once you're older, you should just move on, disappear. You're not that important. You no longer contribute, which is not true. Older people have a lot of they have a lot to contribute, and it should not be discarded at all. And that's what we do in the society. I think maybe retirement actually helps to further this notion that older people are useless, and this has to stop. So we do need to do a revolution, a happiness revolution, in order to change the whole way we live life, so that everybody at every moment in their lives um, is seen as important. And for example, a consequence of not being happy is crime. Is I could talk about this maybe at the end. I'm going to say, that we shouldn't solve the problem of crime. We shouldn't solve um, legislate politeness, for example. I think what we should focus on is happiness. If a person is truly happy, there would be no crime, there would be no prisons, there would be only politeness, only kindness. If the person is happy, the kindest people are the most happy people, are the happiest people. So we spend a lot of money and energy and will and political power on solving consequences of unhappiness. For example, drug problems, crime, petty crimes, robberies, all this. All this is a consequence of people not being happy. But that's another topic. Okay, going back to work. So yeah, I mean, what another problem would be, what do you do when you're older, when you're like 40 and you're in a dead end job, and you go to work because you need the money, and the money just allows you to pay your bills, to feed your family, and you have little money left over, and you don't have time to even uh, think about what would be your ideal job. You don't even have time. You just have time to you're so busy. You go to work, and then you come home, you take care of your family, you cook dinner, you take them out, etc. So you're no longer living fully as a human being. So what do you do in that case? I don't know if I have an answer to that right away, but I guess